I just finished editing a really difficult television show. So I made the 4-hour trip to Vegas to relax and hang out with my friend Rhett. He'd had a pretty crappy day. So I took him out, cheered him up. We had fun. Around 4 a.m., we called it a night and left the club.
As we were walking through the parking lot, there was a suspect in handcuffs, and the officer was screaming at him about his mother. Did you know your mama raised an F up? Did you know your mama raised an F up?
I'm looking at Rhett, he's looking at me, his mouth open, just kind of wondering what in the hell these police officers are doing.
I leaned over to Ramsey and I said, man, look, all my years on the SWAT team, I never saw anything like this. I don't understand what's going on here. I worked with the Las Vegas SWAT team for 7 years as a videographer, and I saw a lot of situations where people were arrested, and I never saw a situation like this where officers acted so unprofessional. They had this guy bent over with the handcuffs, and they were squeezing his handcuffs tighter, and I could tell it was just to give this guy pain.
I saw 4 cops laughing at this guy as he's screaming his head off, being tortured. I didn't know who this guy was. I didn't know what he'd done to get arrested, but I knew there's nothing right about what the police were doing to him. You could see that they were enjoying it.
I saw Ramsey pull out his phone. He was pacing pretty fast back and forth because he didn't like what he saw, and he called 911.
911 emergency.
I want to report improper conduct by a police officer.
Is it happening right now?
It's happening right now.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Ramsey Dennison.
I will let the sergeant know and have him make contact with you, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Next thing you know, I'm getting beaten, arrested, and thrown in jail.
And what's so disturbing to me is that here you have somebody who's really just trying to do a good thing, going to jail for 3 days.
After I was released from the Clark County Detention Center, I started to investigate. In a town where you can get beaten, arrested, and thrown in jail just for making a phone call to report police brutality, I couldn't help but wonder, what else has the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department done?
I grew up in a law enforcement home. My stepfather, whom I love very much, was Highway Patrol. Some of my best friends to this day are cops. I served 7 years on the SWAT team as a videographer. So I'm about as far away from what you'd call a cop hater as you could possibly be. And I think Ramsey, having the experience that he had, isn't quite feeling the same. I think it's important that I show him some cops that I know he'll respect.
Rhett's told me a lot about you since you guys worked on the SWAT team.
We did. Yeah, we spent a lot of time together. We've known each other for a number of years now.
It was kind of an unprecedented thing. It was something that Larry started within the department to bring on volunteers to photo and video these SWAT incidents.
And you find that things do change. Little things like language that is being used is suddenly better than perhaps it would be without being recorded. And so there were no disadvantages to this because we were doing the right thing. The advent of cameras, that's law enforcement's friend. And then that helps us to weed out those individuals who have no business in law enforcement.
I never really thought bad cops were out there until I saw it 10 feet in front of my eyes. Rhett and I actually saw somebody being basically beaten up and tortured by the cops. I was shocked at what I was seeing. Rhett was shocked at what he was seeing. I actually called 911 and reported this. And a couple minutes later, I'm getting beaten up, arrested, and thrown in jail by those same cops. And then I was shocked at how they took that and they turned it around on me to justify what they'd done. It is incredible to read a police report filled with absolute, complete lies.
I'm not sure what your arrest was, but I'm sure it was something along the lines of obstructing and resisting.
They said resisting arrest. You saw me on the phone and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I saw what you're doing. There's nothing right about what you're doing." So I called 911 and told them about it. And he said, "You better get the hell out of here or I'm gonna have you arrested." And as Rhett and I are walking away, I said, arrested for what? And the next second, I'm on the ground with a guy sticking his boot on my head. Literally, like, you look at my mugshot and there's a print from a boot on my head. Of course, I go to jail for 3 days, the only time I've ever been to jail in my life, and I got out, and the first thing I did was get on that phone. I called up Internal Affairs and reported this. They opened up an investigation. I called up the club and asked for the video, and you know what they said to me? They said, the cameras weren't recording that night. We don't always run those cameras. That video never surfaced. It went disappearing.
It is your friend when you are doing things that are proper. When you are not, it becomes an enemy.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I'd like to thank you for all your years of support through the years. As a result, this channel has grown and allowed me an equity partnership in carmarshal.com. Please take the time to check them out. They help you buy and sell your next car, even have a negotiating tool to save you from the hassle of haggling with multiple dealers. The link is in the description below. Please click and help support and give if you can too through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks again.